Hi, this is Liz with Liz's Scrapping Studio. Welcome back. I wanted to do a topic that I think might be helpful for a bunch of people, which is what scrapbooking supplies do you need to start scrapbooking? Where do you start? How do you start? I think this is one of the barriers that people might run into in getting into scrapbooking, and I wanted to break it down. And there's really three components that we really need to think about. The first is your photos, the second is the layouts themselves, and the third is storage. Okay. Now, each one of these things I'm going to break down for you and try to not overwhelm you with things you do and don't need. There is a spectrum of ways that you can go. There's the simple all the way to the very complex. I am going to specifically focus on paper scrapbooking because there is a whole digital scrapbooking that you could do. I'm going to focus kind of where I am, which is in the paper scrapbooking place. And so this first video, we're going to talk about the photos and some of your options with photos. And then we'll delve into the layouts themselves and what you need to do layouts, and then how do you store them? What are your storage options? So hopefully this will help demystify some of what you do and don't need, and help you get to a place where, is this something you want to do, and how do you approach it? All right, so let's talk about photos. Photos they're not critical, but they certainly are a big component of scrapbooking. You can scrapbook without having photos. Say you don't have a lot of good photos of an event you went to, but you've got memorabilia, tickets, or flyers, or you can get photos from that location. So, maybe you went somewhere and you had, it was bad lighting. Really bad lighting. There's been a couple of places I went to that had really bad lighting. And I can go to that website for that event that I went to, or to that location, and I can probably find on the internet some sort of photo that I could use. So it doesn't always have to be your photos. It's really the stories around what you did that you're trying to capture. And the photos help trigger that or give you a visual representation of that thing. But that can be a little bit daunting. If you took a look at your phone and you look at how many photos you have, that can be a little bit overwhelming. And so how do you handle that? One of the things that I like to do is I like to look at what pops up in my photo feed. So when I go, I have an iPhone. When I go, I will get a little square on the homepage that shows me a photo. Sometimes it's random. Sometimes it's a photo of the something that happened that day, and that might spark my interest in that event, whatever it is. And that is a way that I can go ahead and take a look and go, oh, okay, I remember that photo. I haven't scrapbooked it. I haven't done anything with the story on that. I can go ahead and print that photo or set of photos, and I can scrapbook it. Another way that you can do this is by going into your photos and doing a search for a day. So I could go in and I could search for June 28th. And I can see all the photos that I have taken that are on my photo feed from June 28th. And it's a really easy search mechanism. So photos are the big thing that we need to work with. And so one of the things that is sometimes hard is knowing which photos to work with. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be a big project. I think that's one of the daunting things that happens when we are looking at our photos, is that we have so many of them, and how do we decide what to scrapbook? I do not scrapbook in order. I do not scrapbook by year even. I scrapbook on things that are interest to me, or where I have a paper that I like that I can find a photo to go with. But one of the easy ways that you can start and not be overwhelmed with the number of photos that you have is to use the memories that come up, whether you're on social media and on Instagram. I don't know if Instagram does it, but Facebook certainly does. It shows you a memory of the day. If you have something that you had posted on Facebook on that day, it will bring it up a couple of years later even. So I had something post today from my daughter's trip to Thailand 3 years ago. I haven't scrapbooked that trip for her. I haven't scrapbooked what she sent me on the photos and the stories that she told me. So I could take those photos that she sent me 3 years ago, and I can print those out and I can scrapbook those. I can also search on my photos themselves on my phone, and I can look for a specific day. So what if I'm interested in finding out what happened today on June 28th in past years? And I can see all the photos that I took on June 28th that are in my camera roll on my phone. And I can see if there's anything interesting to scrapbook there that I want to or haven't scrapbooked already. I also will have a memory pop up on my phone on the main homepage, if you've kept that particular tile on your homepage, and it'll show me a memory, a random memory. Sometimes it's something that happened that day. Sometimes it's just a random memory. And I can take a look at that and I can use that as a starting point. So don't feel like you're going to get overwhelmed because of the amount of photos you have and what you haven't scrapbooked or haven't started scrapbooking. Just start with something simple. So again, the memories that come up or a reflection on a day, those kinds of things are really easy ways. Another really simple place to start is take an event. Maybe you had a birthday recently for yourself or someone in your family and you have photos from that. Start there. Maybe you had a family vacation that was recent that you want to scrapbook. So taking an event and starting with an event gives you a whole set of photos that allows you to have a starting place, and it's less overwhelming. Okay. All right. So now that I've picked out a photo, what do I do? Okay. So there's a couple of ways that you can have your photos printed out. One way is to send it to a photo printer. That would be any outside source. So Walgreens, CVS, Sam's Club, Walmart. Those are all local for most people in the US. Those are all local places that you can go and have those, upload those photos, and they will print them out. And they can do a variety of sizes. They can do 4x6, which is a very standard size. They can do 5x7s. They can do 8x10s usually. So those are usually the 3 sizes they do. Sometimes you can do collages depending on the particular service that they have. So that means a collage just means that you can take a bigger size piece of photo paper and you can put multiple pictures on it, and they can print that out. And then you can cut them down to the different sizes. So standard sizes for scrapbooking that I tend to use and I think work really well are 4x6, 3x4s, or 4x3s, depending on how you want to look at it, 4x4s, and 3x3s. So 2 squares, 2 rectangles. I don't really go any smaller than that. I don't play around with sizes. I try to stay with those 4 sizes. And generally a lot of the photo places can accommodate that just depending on their services. So if you want to print out your photos quickly, usually this is an hour to 1 day service, you can go locally. You upload your photos on their site and you ask for the prints, and you can go pick them up sometimes in an hour. So those are CVS, Walmart, Walgreens, Sam's Club, I believe still does that, but they may only be delivery. I can't remember now. We don't have a Sam's Club close to us. The second type of photos ways to get your photos is to send it off to a mail service, essentially, where they will deliver them to you in your mail, depending on your location, obviously, in the world. So there's a number of options available there. Shutterfly and Snapfish are probably two of the most well-known ones that are out there. There's a couple of others that are also out there that I would recommend. Persnickety Prints, which is based out of Utah, is really high quality prints and have a lot of options. MPix, MPIX, is another option that's out there. And National Photo Lab is another one. And I will put those all down below in the description with links to their website. I am not an affiliate of any of them. I don't get any compensation. But these are just some of the common ones that you can use. And what you do is you, again, upload your photos, decide the sizes you want, and then they will mail those photos to you. So it does take a little bit longer to get. Okay, so those are mail order photo services. And again, most of those are pretty high quality as far as the types of photos that you're going to get. Some of them also allow you to do those collages, as I said, so you can do multiple sizes. And a lot of them run specials. So it's really good to look at different ones and see if there's a special going on where you can get the prints for as cheap as you can. All right. So the third option for your photos is that you can print them at home. And that's the option I use the most. For me, because I am printing a lot of photos usually because of what I do, it's just easier for me to have them on hand and print them as I need them. And so you can do that one of two ways. If you have a color printer, inkjet printer, most likely you can print your photos from that printer, whether you have an HP or a Canon or an Epson. Most of those these days will allow you to print photos. Some of them have a tray that will hold a 4x6 photo paper or a 5x7 photo paper that you can print on. If they don't have a tray, so standard size printer, if they don't have a tray that handles a 4x6 piece of photo paper or a 5x7 piece of photo paper, you can get full 8.5x11 sheets of paper. And then you can put as many photos as fit on that 8.5x11 sheet of paper and then trim them down yourself. So if you have a lot of photos and you want to do different sizes, you don't want to just do standard 4x6, you can add all these different sizes that I talked about, 3x4s, 4x4s, and 3x3s, onto that 8.5x11 and get multiple sizes. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change cameras, and I'm going to just show you some of the supplies you need if you are going to print at home so that you have that option, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap up this piece. All right, so this is a photo that I've printed at home, and it's on photo paper that I have. So like I said, there are options for you to buy photo paper that you can use in your standard printer. So I happen to have an HP printer. I also have a Canon printer, but I don't have any Canon paper. But this is a glossy 8.5x11 sheets of paper, and I got 50 sheets in this. So I can run this photo paper through my my HP printer, and I can either print out a full sheet or I can create a collage, whatever. But this is a full sheet that I can use. So this is really handy if you have a bunch of photos that you want to print in different sizes, to do it on a full sheet of paper. And with HP, they have a program, an ink program, that determines when you need to get ink, and it ends up being pretty cheap to do that as an at-home printing for the photos because of the pennies per cost. So so again, this is one of the reasons why I actually print at home and don't send my photos out. Again, usually I'm just trying to make sure that I can work with the photos quickly and not having to wait or drive to get them at the 1 hour Walgreens by my house. So again, you can buy the photo paper for pretty much all of the different machines, whether it's an HP, a Canon, an Epson. You can buy the paper, and most of the paper is transferable from one machine to another. So if you bought HP paper, and because that's all they had, and you had a Canon printer, it will most likely work. I haven't had any problems with that, with it not working in another machine. So that's one size that you can get. The other size that you can get is a standard 4x6, which is what this photo is here. And you can buy packets of 4x6 paper. Okay. I'm actually going to turn my light on because it's looking a little dark here, just to make sure that everyone can see really well. I think that's a little bit better. Okay, so you can just buy, again, HP sells it, Canon sells it, Epson sells it. You can just buy 4x6 paper that you can use in your regular inkjet printer as long as there's a tray or a way for it to feed that paper into the printer itself. So you just have to make sure it has that tray. And then the other size that is a typical size that you will see is a 5x7. And again, this is Epson paper because that's what I have. But HP carries it and Canon carries it as well. And so this is just the next size up. I don't tend to use 5x7s as much as I use the 4x6 and the 3x4s. Okay, so using your standard printer is one way. If you have an inkjet color printer, you can print your photos. That also, if you have a standard printer, you can print black and white photos from it as well. So it doesn't just have to be colored. You can make any color photo a black and white photo as well. All right, so the other option, if you really want to print at home, is to get a dedicated photo printing machine. And this one happens to be the Epson MP-400. And again, I will link down below this particular printer so that if you're interested in looking at it, you can. But essentially, this is a dedicated printer for photos. And this has the ability to print multiple sizes. It can print a 3.5 by 5 inch. It can print a 4x6 and a 5x7. So again, the 4x6 and 5x7 papers that I just showed you, it can print. It does come with a specific cartridge that goes in here that's for photo printing. It has a screen here that you can work with, and then it's got some very basic dials. You can also use an SD card over here on the side to print your photos off of. So if you have photos, say, from a standard camera and not on your phone, you can pull that SD card from your camera and you can insert it here and print from this printer. There is a package. So this is the PictureMate package where it will print it comes as a package that has your 100 pieces of 4x6 paper, as well as the ink cartridge to replace the ink cartridge in the system. So it's got all 4 colors. It's got black, cayenne, magenta, and yellow as in this ink cartridge. And I get this auto delivered to me from Amazon. It's for the PictureMate PM400. I get this auto delivered to me from Amazon so that I don't have to think about it. I always have the ink and the paper available for me when I'm ready to print. And it's nice and compact. You could even transport this if you want, if you were going somewhere and you wanted to use it. It's not that heavy, but it does have a little bit of weight to it. So again, this just allows me to print at home very, very simply, so that any pictures that I want, I can use. All right, so I think that covers photos at a high level. You need to find the photos that you want to work with. Don't make it complicated. Use your memory. Memories that come up, whether it's on a social media page or on your phone, search by a date or do an event. Start simple. Don't make it complicated. Start from those things and then you can expand from there. This is going to be a journey. It is not going to be something that you're going to be able to complete in a weekend. You have lots of pictures, you have lots of memories. If you enjoy the hobby, you will continue to go back into history and pull out memories that are important to you, and that you want to leave the stories behind. That's the purpose of scrapbooking, is to leave those stories and those pictures behind so someone in your family can look at it and remember those times, or be able to understand, life events. Again, you don't have to just scrapbook happy memories. You can scrapbook any type of memory. And I do think that is important as well. A lot of us have pets, and we know that there is sadness that comes with pets over our lifetime, but those stories are still important. So don't always think about the happy memories or the memories that you physically have pictures for. You can scrapbook anything that you want as long as you have a story for it. All right. So if you want more information on how to manipulate photos, and I don't do a lot of photo manipulation, but how to do like a collage, or how to get something on a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, how to make that work, just let me know in the comments below, and I can set up another time to do a video about those specifics about printing out photos in that way. And if you have any questions about what I talked about the papers or about the machines or about the companies, again, I will link all the companies that do photo printing down below so that you have those quickly and easily accessible. But we are now going to move into the layouts part of scrapbooking, and what do you need for the layouts themselves. Thanks so much. And again, please leave me comments. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. See you on the next video.